And good morning, everyone. Admiral Preparedness here with one of the cleanup crew here. This is Bridget. She's one of our rescue puppies. Today, I want to cover something that not a lot of people think about, but there's a lot of websites out there, a lot of uh, e-training. There's a lot of individuals out there who know that while you're making your daily lives, making the ends meet, staying out of trouble, that trouble may seem to find you, and you need to be prepared for it. I signed up for a little education with the company First Fight First. Be prepared always means that you need to be able to do things. One of them is to have a special skill. These are lock picking tools. Uh, Locksmith businesses use those to gain entrance into buildings where the keys have been either lost or you need to get in and you're not the owner, like a landlord or law enforcement, whoever. Law enforcement just break the door down, but for insurance purposes, that wouldn't be logical for landlords all the time. So what they do is they'll hire the locksmith to come in and pick the lock. This particular set of DVDs for home defense comes with a DVD on how to pick locks. So if you go out there and you're interested in learning how to pick a lock, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not illegal. Some municipalities frown upon people walking around with lockpick tools. You check your local laws. Make sure that you're not in trouble. If you go run around with these things in your possession, find out that some little dumb ordinance got passed by some tight-necked liberal that prevents you from being able to pick locks. It is a Constitution Amendment, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And if you can't get into your own property, there's a way to learn how to do that. These different lock picks are excellent to use. It's not hard, it just takes practice. The old saying, practice makes perfect. So this is a wallet form. I wouldn't particularly carry this in a wallet, but I would definitely carry it in a side pocket or a shirt pocket or something where I can get to it. I don't have a lot of need to be getting into locks these days, particularly since most of these are going digital. Uh, that's a whole new world, but to have this ability when things go sour and you're sitting out there wanting to be able to, you knucklehead, you know, when things go south, you're confident that you can get into anything that bars you from entrance. There are several different kind of methods to gaining access to locks, doors. There are options that you can always take. You also call your local locks person. But if you don't have one around, you're in a rural area and you've got to get into a barn door that you locked and somebody stole your car and all those keys are on that car key ring. You're pretty much going to have to cut the lock off or break in, come in a different way. So that's just something you might want to think about. I'm not supporting this company whatsoever, but just be aware that there are places out there that are willing to give you the training for a small fee. You pay that small fee, and now you've got that possession. Now, what I would do with this guy, and I've already been asked by a like-minded individual, by willing to sell them the video with a pick kit, and I refused. I said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll barter you the temporary possession of the video. you can go out and find your own lockpick kit. I won't say this one because that's for my own use. So, and what we did was come up to an agreement where I got something out of that individual, and they got to take this away for a few weeks. I just got it back last night. I've been practicing on my front door with these guys and seem to be getting pretty good at it. So it's all to have a little bit of a skill. I don't let it be known, other than right here today, that I can get into a door about. Well, I'm not gonna brag, but let's just say I'm not gonna be there all day doing it. I'll be in. I'll be getting in. It would look a little strange if I was standing at a front door, and if you could always see somebody fiddling with their keys, or you could always see somebody. Uh, the difference between fiddling with your keys and picking a lock. It's obvious that somebody's picking a lock. So if you've got to do this, and it's outside your house or outside your garage or wherever, you can't pick automobiles with this type of set. That's a whole different animal itself. I won't steal cars. That's when the world goes south, automobiles will be left abandoned, and who cares? They'll be along the side of the road, just free for picking. So, like I say, if you don't have if you got an everyday carry that you take to work, or you got a bug out bag you keep in your car, those are the things you got to have to get from point A to point B. The worst part about it is if you've seen some of these disaster documentaries where you're in a foreign country and you're dressed like the civilians and you appear to be like the civilians, they just start to wander about aimlessly. Uh, you don't want to give the authorities any reason to round you up. So don't broadcast that you're an American while you're overseas. Don't wear the American USA shirts. Don't wear anything about a football team. Just if you get to your tourist bureaus and find out what the locals are wearing, not religious clothing, but just standard civilian local clothing, just put it on a t-shirt, blue jeans, pair of sandals, a nondescript ball cap or headgear, and go from point A to point B quietly. Try to avoid large crowds. You'll do fine. If you're out there and you don't have any food and you're looking for food, there's ways to do that too with barter items that you can carry on your person that it would seem to the normal individual not barterable, but yet it's something that somebody who's in desperate need of something is going to look at and want to do that business. It's always good to be prepared for where you're going if you travel. I've been around the world a couple times, and that's one of we have a briefings days and weeks before we go, so they drill it into your head what you do when you go on these liberty calls, port visits of these foreign countries where there could be individuals looking to gain intelligence or looking to put you in a position where it can be compromised later on. I mean, I remember one time we were in Hawaii and Honolulu, and a friend of mine and we always pair up, so you travel in twos, fours, six, eights, tens. The larger quantity, the better off you're going to be. Where we were coming down of a local entertainment establishment, and we started to walk towards the cab stand, and a shady individual approached us and stuck a knife in my friend. And of course, now he's in a car. I can't. There's nothing I can do now. He's already been stopped by this criminal, and now we have to empty out our wallets. Luckily, a bystander yelled something, and the individual turned, and that gave us the opportunity to bug out of there and get the hell out, get into the cab. The cab driver was kind of taken by surprise, and he pedaled it, and we got out of there. Luckily, we didn't lose our money. Since we had to get it back to the ship, we reported it to our shore patrol, and they reported to the local authorities. And we don't know what happened after that, but can only be assumed that the local authorities either did something or didn't do nothing, depending on the severity of the crime. But an attempted robbery is one thing, but Luckily, we got out of our skin. We're not allowed to carry weapons. That's one thing they search us for before we leave depart the ship. Nowadays, if you're smart, you can't. If you, today the port calls are not really classified anymore. But back then, ship's movement was classified. But today, you email your friend, hey, look, send something this is such and such an address. By the time you get there, it's waiting for you, and you can go on liberty with concealed carry. I don't recommend it as active military. If you're going to be a civilian traveling for a company and you want to feel protected, by all means, do whatever you got to do to make yourself safe. A lot of these places, the visa is where the visa passport depots, when you go in to apply for a visa for certain countries, access, or there's always somebody trying to get paid off. Corruptness runs pretty deep in some of these governments. Just recently, an American and Australian popped up on the radar and was requesting well, we don't negotiate with terrorists, but since the last administration, that seems to be what's been going on a little bit behind the scenes. I always kept saying, if you put yourself in harm's way, dummy on you. But if you're a journalist or somebody who wants to have the bleeding heart feeling that you need to go out and show the public what's going on in some of these countries, knock yourself out, but you might just get yourself snagged. Uh, the American Badass Survival Guide. I highly recommend it, folks. Admiral Preparedness here. Have a great day.